Hello everybody, Alan Legorbulu here, and here I am one more day with another video intended to share with other educators my Spanish program and the steps I take in order to teach my Spanish program. This is gonna be the the fourth video, and I already uploaded the first 3 steps on which you can find the important vocabulary we have to give our students the very first days, as well as the important grammar we have to teach our students for them to see the nature of the Spanish language, as well as for them to start integrating the important vocabulary within that grammar and start building sentences, longer and longer sentences. This is the fourth step, and I think this video is very important because on this video I'm going to show you the first keys or the toolbox in order to start having communication in class. And remember, if you are a languages teacher, remember please that interaction and communication is the most important element in order for the students to succeed in learning languages. There is a lot of research that has proven that without interaction, without communication, it's very difficult to acquire a second language. Therefore, we teachers, we should start applying on our classes interactive exercises and communication as soon as possible. But how can we start having communication? What do we need in order to start having communication in our classes? And this is very simple. It's gonna be the interrogative pronouns that I'm going to show you right here.
So here I am on the document. You have to give the students, here you can see the interrogative pronouns: what, where, how, when. These words are vital in any language. And then particularities of the Spanish language, like for example the singular and plural for the word who, as well as the masculine and feminine for the interrogative pronoun how many, as well as how much. Okay, I wouldn't get too deep into detail here with the students, just they are at their early stages, so go just easy. Okay, cuantos or cuánto. Don't ask them to know or to give you the right answer for the words that are the nouns that are in masculine and feminine. That would be too much, asking them too much at the early stages. Also in the future you would have to add whose, which is the quién or the quiénes, but now I think it's a little bit early. And with that whose, with that interrogative pronoun, you would have to add some possessive pronouns too. Okay, like mine, yours, his, theirs. But that's gonna be in the future, in the near future.
Alright, so with the interrogative pronouns, we have a beautiful toolbox in order to start having communication in class. What we teachers have to do right now is to prepare questions, very basic questions, but important questions. Right now, they have to be very basic questions because the students are not ready yet in order to have a very extensive or long communication interaction. On these questions that we teachers have to prepare, we have to integrate the vocabulary and the grammar we have been teaching the students from the beginning of the course. They have to be important also. These questions have to be random questions. Like for example, asking to one of our students, what do you like to study? That could be a good question. And then asking to another student, what are you going to study today? Or where does your dad work? As you see, there is no relationship in all these questions, but it's important to ask them random questions, because that way we teachers can see and verify whether or not our students are learning. This is going to affect also in the motivation of our students, because if they see that by asking random questions they are really understanding my questions, and they see also that I am really understanding their answers, it's gonna have a very positive effect in their motivation. And remember that motivation is key in languages. Okay, so as you can see, we're working on everything right now, the grammar and the vocabulary we've been teaching our students through communication, and communication is key in languages. So from now on, it's gonna be essential that we teachers make a space, a good space in our classes in order to have this type of communication interaction in our classes through questions, answers, and in the near future I would also ask the students to prepare their own questions for me, like as a homework, like prepare at home some questions for me to bring to class. Preparing a system of questions, answers for our classes, it's gonna be key. There is research, a lot of research that really supports this methodology, the methodology of questions, answers, especially at the beginner's level. So here I'm going to show you right now some examples. Alright, so here I am with some examples about how to start integrating in our classes the interrogative pronouns. Here I have the interrogative pronouns donde, which is where, and this is the perfect timing to start telling the students some basic things of the Spanish language. Like for example, I'm writing here tú. ¿Dónde tú estudias español? Okay, the first day you can write tú for them, because this is gonna be their tendency. They're going to all the time ask you questions like ¿Dónde tú estudias español? Because they are used to using their own language that ways, which is English. In English, we have to say the subject pronoun all the time, but in Spanish we don't have to, because we are conjugating the verbs. I already explained that on other video of mine. All right, so tell them that in Spanish we never ever say the subject pronoun when we ask questions. Okay, we always ask questions. ¿Dónde estudias español? ¿Dónde trabajas? ¿Dónde vas? ¿Dónde tú vas? ¿Dónde tú trabajas? ¿Dónde estudias? We don't speak like that. We don't speak like that. With any interrogative pronoun, we never ever say or write the subject pronoun after the interrogative pronoun. Okay, so things like that, now is the perfect timing to tell the students. Second, the answer would be estudio español en mi casa. Okay, now it's the perfect timing to start explaining the students the prepositions, for example, and conjunctions. We don't teach these things singly to the students. We teach these things right now while they are making and building sentences. What I do with my students is I tell them, because normally, and I know it's not always like this, but I want to make it easy on them, en normally in Spanish works for at, in, on. And I know there are exceptions. But right now it's too early. Now, en, at, in, on. And with that, they are going to, it's enough. Okay? Here I am with another example. ¿Dónde trabajas? Imagine that you are working with adults. Okay? This is a good question. ¿Dónde trabajas? Where do you work? As I said, we don't write ¿Dónde tú trabajas? Here. Okay, this is the answer. Trabajo en el centro. Now you are adding vocabulary that is important for them to start building vocabulary. I work in the city center. Okay, now it's the perfect timing to start teaching the students the articles in Spanish. This might take you a little time. And first you have to tell the students that in Spanish we have the particularity of the gender of every single object, which is, it doesn't exist in English. Okay, but I wouldn't stop too much on this. Why not? because it's very difficult for any student to really learn on the vocabulary what is masculine, what's feminine. This is masculine, is this feminine, is this masculine, feminine? Stop. In languages, we have to teach from the general to the particular. And those things, knowing whether or not this is masculine or feminine, this is very particular. Okay? They have to learn that over time. But this is not particular. This is very general thing. Okay? But now would be a perfect time to tell them that the has el, la, los, las, depending, masculine, feminine, masculine plural, masculine plural, feminine plural. Here I have another example, in this case with the interrogative pronoun cuando, when. In this case, ¿cuándo trabajas? Okay, when do you work? Alright, and the answer. And now it's a perfect timing to explain the students this valuable information, like for example, a la mañana, which is in the morning, and tell them the three of them. A la mañana, a la tarde, in the afternoon or evening, or a la noche, at night. Now is the perfect timing to keep adding vocabulary and useful information for the students. Here is another example, and this is a very, very interesting one. So in this case, I'm choosing the interrogative pronoun what. Okay? What? ¿Qué vas a hacer hoy después de clase? You already taught this grammar to the students. Okay? I think that I explained this on the step 2. Okay? So now we are applying it through a question, through communication. Okay, very interesting element here. Después de, after. What are you gonna do? ¿Qué vas a hacer hoy después de clase? Definitely the students are not going to know what después de clase is when you ask them this question. But now it's the perfect timing to explain to them. Después de means after, y antes de means before. This is very important for communication. Very, very useful. Okay, and here I am with another interesting example. In this case, I'm using the interrogative pronoun por qué, which is why. In this case, I choose to ask one of my students, ¿por qué trabajas? Why do you work? Okay, very simple question. The answer should be porque necesito dinero, for example. Or they could answer also porque necesito comer, because I need to eat. Okay, and here is the answer, porque necesito dinero, because I need money. Okay, this is the perfect timing to teach the students one important thing. 99% of the times that we ask the question why, we answer with because. Okay? So 99% that, and in Spanish it's very simple. In Spanish it's very simple. It's ¿por qué trabajas? ¿Por qué estudias? The answer, the same word, but together. Porque necesito dinero. Why is ¿por qué separated? Because is ¿por qué together. In Spanish is very simple, and the students are going to understand that immediately. And you are giving them a beautiful tool for communication. Okay, so this is the perfect timing to teach both at the same time while you are communicating in class with questions, answers, questions, answers. Perfect timing too to teach another beautiful preposition to the students, which is para. Para, in order to, in this case. Para, in order to, is a preposition that we use a lot in Spanish. It's when we have a goal, we have a purpose, and we need to, the word in order to fulfill a purpose, to accomplish a purpose. I do this in order to get that. Okay? Para ganar dinero. This would be a beautiful opportunity, also a beautiful timing to teach the students this beautiful preposition. Remember also that para is not only in order to. Para, it's also for, the preposition for. Like, para mí, para ti, for me, for you. Okay, so this is another example. Here I have another example. In this case, I want to use the the interrogative pronoun quién, okay, which is who. All right. Again, we are applying the grammar that we taught the students on the second step. ¿Con quién vas a estudiar hoy? Who are you going to study with today? Okay, but the important thing I want you to see right now is this. Now it's the perfect timing to tell the students that in Spanish, always, 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 when we ask questions, we write the preposition at the beginning. And that doesn't happen in English. That's irregular. That's a big difference from English. Okay, so in English we always write the preposition at the end of the sentence. Who are you going to study Spanish today? Or who are you going to study with? Okay, ¿con quién vas a estudiar español? In Spanish at the beginning. So now it's the perfect timing to tell the students this irregularity. So as you have seen with all these examples that I've been writing, through communication, there is going to be communication. You're going to start communicating the students, asking these questions, but definitely you are going to be on the whiteboard. You gotta be, as a teacher, on the whiteboard writing all these things. Okay? And at the beginning, you are going to write at the first days of communication, this basic communication, you are going to write a lot. But over time, you are going to write less and less and less. But definitely, all these elements and the elements that I have showed you before, like before, after, antes de, después de, all these things you have to write on the whiteboard. So we are adding things through communication, through questions, answers, and this is the way they learn. So this is an exercise that from now on, daily in class for a long while, until the students are able to tell stories in past tense and so forth. So as you have seen, nothing has been taught here singly. Everything that I've been teaching, that we teach with this methodology to our students, is taught while we are working on the grammar and on the vocabulary we gave the students previously. And also we are working on these things, we are teaching these things while we are communicating. And you can also find an example of how I work with the students live on this questions answers exercise on these videos. Here, as well as on this video. Alright, to finish this video, I think it's important to show you some documents that I've been creating over the course of the years in order to develop this exercise in my classes.
Document that could serve for the very, very beginner profile of a student. ¿Te gusta? ¿Qué te gusta hacer? Gustar, we should teach gustar also at the early stages. Me gusta, no me gusta. You know, gustar, it's a verb that it's a little bit tricky, but don't go too deep into details. Just tell them, me gusta is I like, te gusta is you like. Okay? And then you can see very basic questions that integrate the grammar and the vocabulary we gave the students in the first weeks. Tener, expressions with tener, ¿cuántos años tienes? That's a good one too, because it's different. It's different from English. In English, how old are you? In Spanish, it's like, how many years do you have? This would be a document for very, very beginners. A little bit more advanced as the weeks progress, sorry about that, so you could
develop a little bit more advanced questions like, could you offer me a glass of water? Okay, by this time I already taught the direct and indirect object pronouns, at least me and you, to me and te. ¿Quién crees que? The conjunction que. This is a little bit more advanced document, but this would be in the near future. Okay, as we go, as we work on the sentences, we add more items like, for example, would, the conditional to. Okay, a little bit more advanced, it would be this one. You see here I have 56 pages. I never share these documents with my students. These are unexpected questions, okay, in order to generate communication in my classes. Advanced information, working on different things, like, for example, the objective pronoun and the indirect pronoun here. Okay, and for example, I don't wanna stay here for too long. For example, this one, more advanced, even more advanced. We have to keep creating more questions as the level of the Spanish of our students grow. The more their knowledge grows, we need to develop more questions. These were the questions for today. For example, I think I did these ones today. Si pudieras, the imperfect subjunctive. So you can see that here they are starting to work on advanced stuff, advanced items. Okay, so this is a show for you to know how you can keep developing and keep creating these documents.